Hello everyone, I hope you're doing great. This is my coal forge. It's working great and I love it. The problem is it's a little bit too small for the project I have in mind. So today we're gonna make a big gas forge. Let's get started. First thing I need to do is to make the table for the forge. I want to be able to move the forge so it will be mounted on heavy-duty casters. I'm using my bandsaw to cut all the parts to length instead of an angle grinder, just to be sure to get perfect 90 degrees angle on all of them. I'm using 30mm tube steel I bought at my local hardware store because it's strong enough for this project and also because that's all they had. I cut them to size, and when all the parts are ready, I can tack them in place with my MIG welder, making sure everything is nice and square. Now I can weld everything and grind the welds so the frame is nice and flat. I can now drill holes into the angle iron part and weld them to the frame of the table. It will allow me to attach the tabletop to the frame later. A little bit of grinding and I can start working on the feet. I found it a lot easier to make two sides at the same time. So I clamped all the parts together and I can now tack them in place. When the frame is ready, I can weld all the parts together and grind the welds nice and clean. Now I'm cutting 10mm steel plates into 4 pieces I'm gonna weld to the feet, so I can weld the caster underneath. The forge is gonna be pretty heavy, so I needed very strong wheels. I'm also adding what will become a stock rest by welding smaller tubes together. The stock rest will be at the height of the forge and I will be able to remove it when I don't need it. I'll put the gas bottle under the table, so I'm adding 2 steel bars to support it. After a little bit more of grinding, I can now paint everything with light grey car paint. After waiting a few hours for the paint to dry, the frame is done and I can start working on the tabletop. For the tabletop, I'm using 25mm thick reclaimed wood I salvaged from an old cabinet. The forge is going to be pretty long and pretty wide, so I'm cutting and assembling 2 pieces to get the desired size for the tabletop. I'm using my biscuit joiner and waterproof wood glue to assemble the 2 pieces. When the glue is dry, I can sand the varnish and prep the top from some black paint on both sides and underneath. I can now screw the tabletop to the frame using wood screws and start working on the forge itself. I'm using 50mm aerated concrete block for the base of the forge. It's the perfect insulating material for the job, it's cheap and easy to work with. I'm gluing the blocks to the tabletop and I can start working on the walls using refractory bricks. I want a 80cm long forge, so I'm assembling 4 bricks with refractory cement. Once the first row is fully dry, I can build up the wall, adding a second row using the same material, making sure the joints are good and strong. My clamping method is pretty unusual, but it's working pretty well. For the top of the forge, I'm assembling 2 big blocks and cutting them to size. Then I can sand the walls to make them perfectly square and flat. I can now assemble the walls to the base using refractory cement and add the top. I'm just making sure everything is square by grinding the excess on both sides. That's it for today. As always, be good, be safe, keep making, and see you tomorrow for the next one.